Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 12 of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw multiple things happening, such as expansion into a free continent, uh, pretty much the finishing of the European continent. All of it is claimed at this point. I think maybe like this part here is still part of Europe, but otherwise, it's all claimed. We also saw a couple new colonies form, being the Danish colony here, a Danish colony up here, a North French colony in Africa, and a West French colony in Africa. And we saw a small war breakout over here between the Cyan team and a couple North American nations. And we also saw a major war breakout over in China. So if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get started. So I am going to start off with the exploration and expansion like I normally do, but please note that this is going to be taking place at the same time that the Chinese War does, so just remember that. Alright, so we'll start off in Africa as we see the countries explore a very large portion in uh, they discover a very large portion in southwestern Africa, discovering all of this land. That's right here. Uh, Cabo Verde is discovered as well, and we see West France continuing along the coast and a bit inland. Eventually, they will be able to discover all of this. We see the Dutch team discover a bit more land around them, as well as working with Tanzania to discover a bit more here. We see them discover more around their colony. We see all of this area here get discovered by the yellow team and the blue team, which are the only two of the original 5 countries that border each other, which is kind of a fun fact. Down here in Asia, we see more of these islands getting discovered. Eventually, Timor-Leste is discovered, or East Timor, depending on what you call it. We see the rest of this island get discovered, and the rest of Borneo. We see many of these islands out here are discovered, and eventually we see a landing get made on Papua New Guinea, not down here in Africa, or not Africa, Australia. I do know my continents, guys. Totally. Uh, We don't see much expansion going on here, but we do see a little bit happening in the Persian Indian region, even the Himalayas a bit. There is no expansion up here as countries are starting to kind of choose sides in the war. There is also no exploration up here. I think I was calling it expansion earlier, as most of this land is already discovered, and the countries just weren't able to claim all of it, aka I just didn't want to draw all the provinces at once. But we do see Russia discovering a lot more of Siberia. This isn't Siberia, but a lot more of west, or moving more west in Russian territory. They have they eventually discover all of this land here. Up in Greenland, we see more of Greenland being discovered, including some of the northernmost parts. And we see the discovery of these northern Canadian islands. We see North France discover the rest of this peninsula. Is a peninsula, I believe, because like this, other than right here, it is all water surrounding it. But yeah, all this is discovered. They eventually discover some of these islands, moving up the islands, and eventually they will discover most of this island and Denmark and the Dutch team. We also see Denmark explore a bit more inland and Greenland. Um, in the western or central parts of North America, we see a very large portion of Mexico is discovered by Catalonia. We even see all of Baja California is discovered, and we see Catalonia kind of moving up into California. Now we will move over to Asia, where we see a new union take place, as Japan will unite with the orange country south of them. They will share the same city as their capital. They will not be either of their current cities. What we see is them. What we see happening is them taking a different major city, kind of in the center of the two cities, as their new capital, and that will be right here. Right there. Okay. Alright. Now, just like I have done with pretty much every other episode, actually, we're not done with exploring yet. I don't know why I changed stuff. We see or not Central America. We see Denmark discovers more of Central America, eventually getting through the Darien Gap, as it is probably less dangerous in this world, as there's like not really any crime over here. However, there are probably still more deadly animals. You see these countries continue to go through the Amazon rainforest, eventually making their way. Eventually, the Dark Scion team will make their way down the coast of Brazil and into where modern day Uruguay is. From here, they will explore quite a bit inland, and they will be able to discover all of this. On the flip side, we see Denmark is able to discover all of this, as well as the Galapagos Islands. And lastly, we see Catalonia, the cyan team, and the green team all discover all of this. But now we will take a look at the treaty. Yes, there is no expansion in Africa. Alright, so here we have our treaty. We shall start off in North America. We see only the colonizers are getting land here. So the West French get that. We see North France getting all of this, as well as many of these Canadian islands. We see Denmark getting all of this part of Greenland. They also died. They get like all of this in these Canadian islands. Yeah, sure, they get that too. And see, the Dutch team will be getting all of this in Greenland, and they will. I didn't draw their season. They will be getting all of this island. Moving down south, we have Team getting all of this in the Great Plains, and we have Catalonia getting all of this in these couple islands. We see Denmark getting all of this, as well as the Galapagos Islands. And we see Switzerland getting all of this. We have Gibraltar getting all of that land. And the Dark Team gets all of this. And before I show which country claimed the Uruguay area, make sure you, if you guys want, you can just guess. But the country is Catalonia. At this point, probably the biggest colonizer in the world. I'd Yeah, I'd say the biggest colonizer. Uh, I don't know who second would be. Could be the Dutch team, so Greenland and Africa. It could be the Dark Team, but unarguably, Catalonia is number. We've got the Dark Team getting, or the Cyan Team getting all of that. The Dark Cyan Team getting these islands. North France will be getting all of this. And the Dutch team will get all of this. Not all of it. I get a bit extra, but oh, we've seen West France getting all of this. Moving into more of the uh, not original African countries, I don't want to say, but some of the solely African countries originated in Africa. They expand a good bit. We also see a new country forming right here. Their capital will be pretty much right in the center of the country. Right there. Moving north, Ethiopia claims these two bits, and the blue team claims all of this. And now we just have Asia left. Russia will be claiming all of this, as well as obviously these islands. North Caspia will be getting these two pieces here. And regular Caspia will be getting these three pieces. You see the orange team claiming over this, and the Persian Indian team claiming that. Pakistan will claim Pakistan will claim that. India claims over this. And that is it for the south. North, we see this green country here expand to those two sections, and Lake Baikal expands into these three. And for the last bit, we see Sumatra claims over all of these southern islands, and we see Pink Country claiming over the rest of these islands. We do have a designated border, Papua New Guinea. And now that will be for expansion. This and so now coming back over here, we see the push by South China continues to grow slightly, as like I have said, China is pretty unprepared for this. We see central China going over these couple provinces, starting to reach out towards a new major city, capturing this one by the border, relatively by the border, and moving up through more of China. Eventually, they'll be able to get to about like this before they're pretty much halted. And here we see Chinese troops finally begin to respond, and they will quickly be able to push out South China or Central China. We see Northern China focus more on the eastern areas, which does lead to Central China having more success out west. However, there's less to go for up here. We see Central China capture this major city. However, they lose control over all of their of all of their pushes into East and North China. Eventually, we see so North North China pushing south, capturing two major cities, and being able to encircle another. And we see North China slowly creep down towards the capital of the Central Chinese country. But here we see a new country joining the war. Ah, that's right. Okay. So, I never did this in the last episode, but I'm going to quickly go over the updated trade routes. This is actually happening before this war broke out. We see this trade route continuing north, goes to this capital, to these major cities along the east coast, to the capital of China, for moving up here, going through these major cities, and coming to about right here, as it also moves up north into Lake Baikal, goes to these two major cities, goes to the capital of Lake Baikal, and then follows down here, hits every major city in this green country, and enters into Caspia. Caspia will connect up this trade route, and we now have a full trade route that runs from here east, or in the west, to up in the east. But that's not all we see happen with the trade route, as we see it wrap around the Caspian Sea, as the Caucasian and Caspian countries continue to upgrade the trade route. We then see the trade route continues off along the East Mediterranean, going into the Nile Delta, the Nile River Delta, and then continuing to both Egypt and Arabia. Eventually, it will connect up to the, it will connect the entire Arabian Peninsula. Right. And here we see it reaching down the Nile River. And here we see it continue into moving more East Asia. We see this trade route continue through here, as it also will loop around South in India. Alright, this is our trade route for Asia. There's a little bit, there's a little bit we have to do in here. You see, the trade route goes down to the border, Catalonia. Catalonia makes a trade route that goes through them, the Cyan team, but the Dark Cyan team and Gibraltar will both refuse to allow a trade route to be built through them. They will, however, build their own trade route connecting their two capitals. Eventually, what we see happening is Italy. Ah, no, clear. Alright, wait. All of it too. Alright, pretend that I'm not. Pretend this is all. But we see Italy, North France, and Russia sever the trade route, mostly by sabotaging it. This also happens in most of the Dutch team area. However, right in here, it is kind of hard as there isn't really a clear way as to who owns the trade route. It also happens with Yugoslavia. Pretty much what it is the Circle Alliance cutting off the trader to the Square Alliance. Now, back to the war over here. Except I didn't do the last thing. As you see, this part of the trade route will connects up with with the, or doesn't connect up, nearly connects up with Korea. As you see, what I'm doing right now, Korea is making their own trade route that goes through their country. However, we do not see the we do not, or China does not allow the trade route to go into Korea. And so, because of this, what we see happening is Korea will join the war on the side of Middle China, or of Central China. And we now see Korean troops enter these, these Chinese provinces here. And I do believe now or almost every country, almost every of the 5 starter countries has been in a war. Ethiopia with their civil war, I believe back in episode 6. The blue team with their civil war, I believe in episode 2. The green team with their war against the Lower Peninsula in episodes 4 and 5. And now Korea with their China. I mean, Switzerland is the only country of the starter 5 to not be in a war. However, we are likely going to see that changing soon. Back to the fighting. I'm just going to do this. We see Korea continue pushing through the Chinese territory and blinking so bad right now. Eventually, they make a landing, capturing this province and major city. Yeah, I'm turning that off. And we see China call for more help. And on their own, they could probably take Central China. But like looking at power rankings, it is 6th strongest versus a country who's not in the top 20. Now we've added the 14th strongest. Plus, it is a 2-front war, and that's not very easy to fight. Now, with Japan on their side, it makes things easier. But we then see this domino out, and Lake Baikal will join the war on the side of Korea, as they believe there isn't really any good reason that China should halt the trade route through Korea. We also see South China, probably the closest ally of Central China, joins the war on their team, or on the side of Central China, and that even more evens the playing field. As of right now, we do not see any other countries joining this war. So now, with the addition of a couple new countries into this war, we see we see Japan attack the Kor- Korean claims over the Japanese Isles, being able to swiftly take them over. They will then attempt at making a landing near the capital, but they will not be able to, and will go for this island instead. Maybe. Over in central China, we do see this major city fall. However, with the help of South Chinese troops, we do see a major pushback from here, and eventually a spearhead is made through here, and this major city is reclaimed. We continue to see Central Chinese troops pushing north through here. It's like slightly rugged terrain, but not really. The small branch goes out to capture this major city, and we now see some southern Chinese troops arriving in to aid this. We see Korea, or not Korea, uh, Lake Baikal sends their forces out through these couple spots. They capture multiple provinces, however, not really any major cities in this area. They will work their way down the trade route, being able to capture all of this with it. And we see Korea continue their push towards the capital. Now, moving into these nearby provinces here. They will capture this major city in the north. However, they will be pushed back in the uh, far further northern areas, losing this major city. We see the green team making a landing here. However, soon after, they'll be repelled by Korea. We see Korea making landing here, and eventually back onto Japan, claiming we're recapturing all of these provinces. They'll then start a push into southern parts of Japan, being able to eventually kind of disconnect the areas and being able to take it all over. We see central Chinese and southern Chinese troops make their way up towards this trade and major city, capturing over it, and eventually they will go to the coast and from here spread out. However, they don't really defend these areas here, so we see China is able to break through, encircling its troops in this major city, and being able to start closing in these troops in the north. Hearing about how this is happening, we see Korea moving in and quickly being able to like meet up with these troops. We see another naval landing be made by Korea and being able to meet up with the troops on this side too. And we see South China sending ships from likely Taiwan up to Korea so that they can be sent out to aid up here. Eventually, we see the Lake Baikal continuing to push through this area, continuing down where the trade route is through any major cities that might be along it. And they will go through multiple major cities before nearing where the stranded South Chinese troops are. However, once hearing about what happened to them, they will quickly reinforce the line that is moving downwards. We see Korea continue to expand, not expand, but invade into the uh, northern part, or the Yellow Sea parts of North China. And we eventually see a much stronger, um, see, much stronger spearhead form, claiming back this major city, unencircling it. And we see these troops of here with the extra supplies moving back down. Eventually, you see these troops kind of redirect their focus as they now make a large spearhead towards the capital. We see Korean troops doing the same, and at this point, Chinese troops are overwhelmed, and the Chinese capital is taken by Korea, and the leader of China is assassinated. He's not just captured, he is killed by a couple rebellions in the major city, in the capital city. With this happening, we see Korea redirecting their troops over back to Japan. However, not long after, we see Japan surrendering as well. And we will take a look at a peace treaty. Okay, so here we have the peace treaty. I did not realize how long this episode is taking to record. So after this, I'm going to finish up the episode instead of doing what I originally wanted to. Right, so we see Central China takes these provinces in the east and these ones in the west. We see Korea will take these provinces up here, as well as these four here. They will also take this entire southern island, as well as the smaller islands around it, out of Japan. We don't see China getting any land as they lost the war. Same with Japan. But we see Lake Baikal getting all of these provinces here. And there's one last thing that will be added, and that is now South China, or not South China, Korea will have to, or is allowed to connect up their trade route. I think that will overlap it. Yeah, so Korea is allowed to connect their trade route up to the main trade route, allowing for trade to run through their country. I'm going to fix up the trade route stuff later. But there's one last part to the peace treaty that we see happening, and that is the countries joining up with alliances. All the countries that were in war will join either the Square or Circle alliance. So, starting with the Square alliance, we see South China joins, Central China joins, Korea joins, and Lake Cauldrons. But they don't just add members in Europe, there also are a couple of European members that joined, such as this orange country right here, Greece, and that's it. However, for the Circle Alliance, we only see very few members get added, and that is China and Japan. Circle, or mostly just Russia and this yellow country, will try to convince Crimea or Bulgaria to join, but they've got other things that they're attempting to work on. So, with that, that will end today's episode of What If Civilization Started Over. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.